Hi, my name is Joanna Whitney. I am an intuitive artist, a student of natural law, and an energy practitioner. And we're reading the Kybalion by the Three Initiates. We're on chapter 15, Hermetic Axioms. And I'm going to redo um, the one I was doing last week because I think it got overshadowed by my mentalism review. And I think it's really important. So, page 101, it says, to change your mood or mental state, change your vibration, the Kybalion. One may change his mental vibrations by an effort of will, capital W, in the direction of deliberately fixing the attention, capital A, upon a more desirable state. Will directs the attention, and attention changes the vibration. Cultivate the art of attention by means of the will, and you have solved the secret of the mastery of moods and mental states. Well, I've had a lot of experience with this week. It's been quite a week for me. Um, and I'm just gonna look at this. Coming from where I come from, as a kid, it's been very hard for me to do this because I truly believed that my mood and my mental state were true, and therefore, I couldn't change them. But I have used lots of different techniques over the years with regards to this, and simply repeating a mantra or a positive statement. I have actually experienced this. In 1996, I was in a very dark, low place. I had a very negative relationship with a male, and I was completely incapable of making any changes. So I found a book by Catherine Ponder called uh, something, The Divine Law of Prosperity, I think it was called. And I found this line in that book that I could resonate with, and it went, uh, "Divine love, it's doing its perfect work in my life now, and all is well." And that was just, you know, so not true. Like I would look at like it was the only line that I could believe, but it my life, like, it looked like Satan was doing its work in my life and everything was chaos. But somehow deep in my deepest soul, I believed that divine love was doing its perfect work in my life now and all is well. And I just started to repeat that over and over and over again, like pretty much constantly. And it became like my answer to everything. By repeating that continuously, and I mean continuously from the my first waking moment until I went to sleep at night every day for, maybe several years. And this is while I was taking really negative actions. Like I was obsessed with this guy and I would follow him around. I mean, we were in a relationship, so it wasn't like I was stalking him or anything, but I would just like try to keep track of him, and he would go off and do his thing that he was doing that was extremely negative, and I would go and find him and um, try to convince him to come home and stuff like that. And even while I was driving to find him, knowing that I shouldn't be doing that and that I should be doing something else for myself, I would be saying that divine love is doing its perfect work in my life now and all is well over and over again. And it changed me from within over a period of time. So many things changed as a result, I believe, of that simple act. It was the only thing I could do. I kept doing everything else that I was doing, all the other crazy things I was doing. I continued doing, but I kept saying those words over and over again, and it changed me from within in a subtle way that I could handle. Because my frequency was so low at that time that, um, yeah, I think any abrupt changes, I probably would have died of shock. I couldn't have handled like just going from that low frequency to a high frequency. I just couldn't have. My cells would have exploded or something. So slowly, over a period of about, let's see now, 3 years, I would say, I slowly evolved to a point where I got rid of that guy. I was able to get out of that situation and um, embark upon. And I was also, I think, yeah, I embarked upon a very strenuous spiritual path within the path that I was already on, but I took it to another level, um and it was all because I was doing this, you know. I mean, maybe for some people they can just do it. I don't know, but for me, I couldn't just do it. And like, right now in the world, um I'm experiencing levels of insanity that I've never experienced before. I I've never seen the level of delusion and dishonesty and mob mentality uh that I'm seeing just in my immediate environment. Not in my family particularly, but in some of the groups that I'm involved with. And yeah, all I can do is this at this point. At this point, that's what I have to do is I have to go back to, saying things like that. But I mean, I've evolved from there. I've evolved. I from from the Catherine Ponder statement after I embarked on that strenuous spiritual exercise in 2007, I did the 7-day mental diet, which is another um version of this. But I don't think I could have done that, which was, I guess, maybe 10 years later, if I hadn't done the mantra. That was a huge brainwashing, like a literally brainwashing. Like I put my brain in the washing machine and with some soap and washed it out and then put it back in my head. It was 7 days. It was miraculous. A miraculous change happened in me where I used to be so negative that I could basically hallucinate. I could bring on a hallucination without any, you know, substances, uh, and go from zero to the apocalypse in under 15 seconds. Like I could imagine these things, these terrible things happening. And I was so neurotic that I would drive back to the house to check the oven, make sure it was off. Like I would do that like over and over again. And I would never believe myself when I would leave that it was off. I mean, I was nuts, very, very crazy. And I did the 7-day mental diet and man, it's been great. I literally, it's almost like I have a platform within my brain now that is just optimistic and positive, and I can never get lower to those extremely neurotic and crazy states that I used to go in too. Now I'm a Libra, I'll put that out there. I'm a Libra, and so I've met other Libras that are like this. I also have no Earth in my chart, so it's very difficult, for me. I have to do grounding exercises and stuff like that. But like I could never trust myself until I did the 7-day mental diet where which I think I'll just post a link to that, It's a very simple exercise and I'm not going to give away the secret to it because you basically have to decide to do it and not really tell anyone that you're doing it because you will leak the energy that you need by talking about it. And then you just have to do what the directions say. And interestingly, I've never been able to do it again. Like I tried to do it again to get better more more good results because I'm still, I still have a natural tendency towards sarcasm and pessimism. So I wanted to do it again, and I was never able to do it again. Like I could never stick to it again, but I was able to do it once, and that was amazing. And it set a platform, raised my frequency to a point where I can't go below it anymore. Um, uh, I want to go back to this for a second. Let me see, what does it say here? Um, okay, one may change his mental vibration by an effort of will. So I would say the effort of will would be, well, its will is capitalized, but I feel like it's my higher self combined with God's will. Like I believe God wants me to be in a state of optimism, trusting that He is supporting me and He is sending me information and I'm following His information. The actions that I take are directed by God since I pray all the time. Um, so I make the effort to repeat these things over and over, and then I get these feelings, these really good feelings from saying those things over and over, and then that kind of sets the ball rolling so that I don't stop doing it. So in the direction of the deliberately fixing the attention upon a more desirable state. So the attention, like paying attention, is like a form of currency. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that when I would say divine love is doing its perfect work in this situation now and all is well, or in my life now and all is well, I might not even be paying attention. But that's a good point that they're bringing up because I think this is something to do with the double-mindedness of what the dark occult has been perpetrating upon us with, the multitasking thing and the smartphone and everything. I think that my brain is actually just supposed to be doing one thing at a time, and that has always been extremely difficult for me as an artist. And I've always done my best work. I don't know if anybody can identify with this when I am doing two things at once. When I am drawing and paying attention to something else, I do my best work, and it doesn't even feel like it's my work. It's just coming through me. When I'm paying attention to the work that I'm doing, it's not as good. So that's weird, you know? And the downside of that is that I could be doing artwork and thinking negative thoughts. And the thing is that I'm putting the energy, my energy combined with the energy from the ether into the substrate when I'm doing work. Whatever I'm doing, if I'm doing two things at once, um, the energy of the other thing I'm doing is going into the other thing I'm doing. So it's divided. And I believe I've heard, maybe it's a biblical term, that a divided house will fall. So the why I'm saying that is that, it's been something that I've been working towards to be able to deliberately fix my attention upon a more desirable state, but I also have been able to, like, I could see myself thinking about two things at once and thereby diminishing this process. And so when I first learned to meditate, what I did was I was taught that if I would count backwards from 100 and see the numbers in my head, then I wouldn't have any other stray thoughts. And so that's a way to unify the left and right side of the brain. Like the left side of the brain is counting backwards and the right side of the brain is seeing the numbers. So the two of them should be working together towards the same goal. And I say this because I think that this is part of how the dark occult has diminished artists and the work that we do. So, for example, when I'm going to be doing this huge art project coming up here. I'm working on it right now already. I'm just learning some things to, um, I'm doing some practices to get ready for it. And I think what I'm going to be doing when I'm actually doing the artwork is I'm going to be saying a prayer. I'm going to try to just state a positive state of intention rather than letting my mind wander, because I want to put in to the substrate a unified, positive um, intention of good energy. And so, because I've trained myself over the years to, you know, sing in the shower or, pray, t talk to myself in the car while I'm driving, and somehow arrive at my destination without knowing how I got there. Since I've been grooming myself to be double-minded since God knows when, and I think that's part of the, agenda. I'm going to have to do something very simple to be able to harness that power that would be a single-minded power that I don't personally currently possess. And I'm just putting that out there to you all, like, to try to stay present with what you're doing is what I think they're talking about. Let me just reread this again. One may change his mental vibration by an effort of will in the direction of deliberately fixing the attention upon a more desirable state. Right. So if you don't have the practice of being able to pay attention to a more desirable state continuously, your mind would wander, you see. And and then the negative would come back in. And I'm having that experience right now. Like there's a few things going on right now that I have prayed about, and I know that I'm in the right, but a lot of people don't agree with that or whatever. And because my mind is not disciplined into single-mindedness, I can let my mind can wander, and the next thing I know, I'm like gripped by dread and questioning myself. And that's just because I have not developed the skill of single-mindedness. And I think that's something that's very important. In order to do that, I'm simply going to give up social media, I have to say. It's taking a while because I'm totally addicted to it, but just a little bit at a time, like, going back to driving the car and not, going on social media at the stoplight, just staying present in the car at the stoplight. Um, and then, just not participating in, not getting, dragged into things, not feeling like I have to like put my 2 cents in or whatever. And going back to single-mindedness, or I don't think I ever have been single-minded, but starting with the first thing, which would be to get rid of this addiction that I have developed. And um, then it will be easier for me to just stay in the present moment, knowing what I know to be the truth, which is that I'm okay and I have, good intentions for my actions and that I'm not a bad person or whatever the hell is going on. Um, then it says, cultivate the art of attention by means of the will, and you have solved the secret of the mastery of moods and mental states. I mean, I can totally get that. This is going to sound really weird, but I mean, I've read a few books about Qigong masters who have walked on water. And I could just see myself like I mean, people have done the Tony Robbins course and walked on hot coals, and that has to do with the single-mindedness that they had developed somehow. Um, but I know myself, and I would tempt myself with, oh my God, this water isn't solid. And then you fall back into the water. So that is falling prey to another thought. And so, yeah, this is a mental discipline to just have one thought in your mind and have unified the right and left sides of the brain so that they're working together and you're present for it. I can see how that would, because basically what happens is like I'll let that negative thought come in and then it'll wipe me out. It's like a wave. It'll wipe me out. I'll be thrown on the beach or whatever, spun around inside the water wave or whatever, can't breathe. Then I'll come up into the air and I'll be like, phew, and then I'll be able to settle back down again. But then I don't have the attention to keep it, or I have this temptation to go into the other thoughts. And so that's what I'm just challenging you guys with at this point. Like, to change your mood or mental state, change your vibration. Well, in order to do that, you're going to have to stick with, like, for example, take what's going on right now in the world as a good example. Like, I sincerely believe that God is in charge. Um, what that doesn't mean that I don't have any responsibility for what's going on in the world. I have an absolute responsibility to act out of that belief that God's in charge, which means that everything is okay. Even though, like, look, I mean, I went through that before. Divine love is doing its perfect work in my life now and all is well. Um, and to look at every situation through that lens, I could be in a good mood like that, even though, there's a lot of people who are mad at me right now, for whatever reason, and I don't have to buy into it. And that's a huge discipline. And um, I don't want to have to succumb. There's another statement that I heard a while back in my fellowship of people that I'm involved with. What other people think about me is none of my business. Wow, that's a huge statement. I mean, social media completely undermines that. Um, but okay, if what other people think about me is none of my business, and my mood is in the dumper because of what I believe other people think about me, for me to then focus on the present moment is an act of will and my attention on what is actually happening right now. And I'm of course praying also. I'm also praying, me personally, I'm praying for help staying present in the moment, help not um, letting those stray thought hairs escape my attempt to unify them under paying attention. Um, so I pray for that consistently. I'm always asking God for help. And then the people that come into my head that I want to argue with in my head, I also, once I catch myself doing that, I just say, God, please help those people. God, please, God bless that person. God, please give that person everything that they um, deserve, but that's not in a negative way. God, please give that person everything that they want for the highest good of all concerned. Not that I'm going to be able to make that happen, but I can lend my thoughts to try to be uplifting to people who are um perhaps putting me down or whatever. God bless them. God, God, it just makes me feel good. It makes me feel really good. And coming from where I come from, like I have like a natural tendency to believe that I can't do anything and that I don't want to do certain things. And I have that like running in the background, like the computer screen. Um, in the Matrix, the code that's running in the background is I don't want to and I can't. And I recently started saying, I want to and I can. I can do this. I want to do this, whatever it is. Um, and it makes me feel so good to say that. And it gives me inspiration to do the whole thing and do it well. Whereas in the past, what I would do is cut corners and feel crappy about myself. So um, I hope this has been informative. It's completely my personal experience, and other people might be able to just do this, snap their fingers and change their attention to, to change your mood or mental state, change your vibration. I mean, that's the whole point. The whole point is my perception is not the truth, okay? My perception, which is my perception based upon my experiences in the past and my mental chatter, is how I perceive the world. And I don't want to live like that because my perceptions are skewed into like I have a natural affinity as a result of my upbringing for scarcity mindset, fear, financial insecurity, and um, negativity. I don't want that. But because I was trained in that from age 0 to 7, I'm going to probably have to work at that for the rest of my life. And but it makes me feel really good to say these positive things to myself, and it gives me a well. I tap into this inner well, and then I can give it to others. Like I can, be the first one to smile at somebody on the street. I can be focused and attentive in the store, talking to the clerk or whatever, and be nice to them and try to bring something to them because I have tapped into that inner well. And I'm not like you know, a big drain trying to get something. Instead, I have something to give. And so that's where I want to come from, because when I'm like that, my mood and my mental state are optimistic and my frequency goes up and I rise above the crazy that I so naturally can see going on. So hopefully that's helpful. Until next time.